As the calendar changes from the 31st of December to the 1st of January every year, our WhatsApp messages start buzzing. We have the groups with greetings of New Year's and seasons. And with that also come a flurry of memes talking about how we are going to have again a set of resolutions which we may not be able to fulfill. This is because every new year comes with a promise that we'll be better than what we were previously, and we are going to try out new different things. With all this hope, there is all this uneasiness also because things around us, the world around us is changing and it's changing fast. There's a lot of automation happening. AI is here to disrupt. Careers are being laid off. Um, People are really going through challenging times. And in all this, how do we become better versions of ourselves? How do we have that clarity, that conscious decision making to unleash the power that is within us? Now, for this conversation, I have with me Mr. Simerjeet Singh. He's spent nearly 2 decades talking to various different leaders, working with organizations, working with individuals, and specifically about this as to how do you unleash the power that is within you. Simerjeet, welcome to this conversation.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you for setting the context. And yes, I think WhatsApp does tend to get overloaded around 31st. And I do typically spend the next 2, 3 days responding to all the Happy New Year greetings that land in my inbox. I think it's overhyped, this whole New Year, new me, New Year resolution business, because research shows, and perhaps many of the viewers can relate with that, come 15th of January, all your New Year resolutions disappear and life is back to the same thing over again. It's because there's a whole stimulus in the environment that there's going to be a new calendar and this whole motivation is there to do something new. But the question is, if you don't change the inputs, the outputs are not going to be different.
That's very true.
The change of the calendar year in itself will not add any value if you're not changing what you're putting in this machinery, this mind body consciousness mechanism that's available to us. If nothing new is going inside, nothing good new will emerge on the other side. So the question to everybody is, no, great, by all means, change your life in 2026, change your life this new year. But the question is how? And it doesn't just have to be at the surface level. You have to change the inputs. You see, you change the diet and the body begins to feel different. The physical diet, right? The food we eat. You change the mental diet, your mind begins to feel different. So if you're changing the input, what you're taking in, the output is guaranteed to change, if not in a month, in a couple of months. But I think that's the real question to ask. Not what will I aim for this year, but what am I going to let go of this year? What am I going to start this new year? And small habits, they compound. I gave myself a challenge just a couple of weeks back, and this is coming from personal experience, to start planking. My first plank was no more than 20, 30 seconds, and I would collapse. And it's just been less than 10 days. I'm already going 1 minute plus, and I feel better. And this is one of my tiny New Year resolutions for 2026, to incorporate it into my daily regime, come what may, is to plank every day. And hopefully, it adds up to something interesting by the time.
That's the power of consistency, I say.
I hope so.
But why do we find it so hard to step out of our comfort zone? Why do we find it so hard that, psychologically we have this mindset that, okay, it's a new year, it's going to be a clean slate. We have this opportunity to start afresh. But why is it so hard to get out of that circle, that to break that pattern and to start these new habits? Like you say, that it's important to incorporate a little tiny change that can consistently be followed.
That's a great question. I think most of us wait for disasters to happen before we take remedial measures. Until it's manageable, we tend to overlook it, right? Whether it's credit card debt, whether it's your health, whether it's what the latest test results that you've taken for your physical checkup, whether it's those things, we typically wait for an actual problem to emerge and become very big before we take corrective action. And I think secondly, what you mentioned is we tend to fall in love with our patterns. I think Paulo Coelho said it, that we don't like change, even if things are imperfect, because at least we know this broken world of ours. And the fact that I know this broken world, I don't want to change because I don't know if there's something called, we all know the fear of failure, but there's also fear of success. What if things actually work out for me? Am I ready for it? And many people are not. because they're suffering from this imposter syndrome. They feel, even if things do work out for me, do I deserve that big house, that the fame, the followers, you know? Oh, they'll all find out I'm fake. So better to continue with this broken habits and the broken world. So we really have to dig a little bit deeper inside to figure out what's preventing me, what's standing in the way of me and my so-called desires. Often, these are internal barriers. Often, the demons we must slay are inside us, while we spend all of our energy trying to fight those demons in the outside world. In most circumstances, that is the inner work that we have to do to identify what the roadblocks are and then to overcome them. And I think that's the real work we must all think of undertaking in 2026.
You talked about credit card debt. Now, I think money makes the world go round, and a lot of our desires, however small they may be, revolve around money. What can you tell us about achieving good financial health this new year?
I would say, first of all, great question, Kunal, by the way. And this stat just came in a couple of days back. And I think one of the fin influencers was talking about it. That 75% of all the iPhones sold in India last year were on credit card EMIs, which says, and that too bought by millennials, by young people. Young people are taking out loans and EMIs to travel across the world, right? Not to buy their first home. Our parents' generation, they saved money to buy the first home. This generation feels, oh, probably I would never be able to afford a home. So why not just live a better life, right? So I can post on Instagram, so other people can see where all I'm traveling or what phone I'm using. And I think this is a very short-term way of looking at things. We are not thinking long-term. So as far as money goes, I think basic financial hygiene is to, number one, not get carried away with what's happening in your environment. When did I buy an iPhone? And this is from personal experience. I had the good old-fashioned phone for 8 to 9 years after the iPhone was launched. You probably have seen me carrying around one of those. I ran my old Hyundai Santro into the ground, and now we sold it to somewhere where they teach how to ride new cars, right? And the current vehicle I drive is 19 years old, touching 20, it'll be touching 20, about the same time that I've spent in the speaking industry. It's a 2007 Toyota Innova, reliable, touchwood as anything. And because I don't feel the need to, because I do not need a brand new vehicle parked outside, because all I have to do is just go to the gym once a day. The rest of my travel is typically by air, right, to wherever I have to go to do for my keynote engagement. So I'm not saying buying a new car, if you can afford it, is something you should not do. By all means, lead a good life, wear the best clothes, do whatever you want to do, but you don't have to do it to impress other people. If a new car makes you feel good, go for it today.
I think that's a very important thing that you said. I don't feel the need to. And I think that mental rewiring of understanding that it's not about keeping up with the Joneses. It's not about, showing it off for other people. It's about having that pleasure for yourself. And if it does mean something valuable for you, and you can afford it, then definitely you should.
True. Absolutely. And I think young people, Kunal, are more susceptible. They're not able to figure out, is this something I really want? Or is this something because all my friends are doing it and I'm feeling left out? Somebody who's in their 20s probably has not built that thick skin at the moment, right? Of not giving a damn about what people think around them. And I urge all of our young viewers to, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to wear branded clothes. You don't have to, go to that concert if the tickets are overpriced just because everybody else is posting their selfie. Do what makes sense to you, I think, and not just money-wise, in career choices, everything else. Do what makes sense to you. Let me share an interesting example, Kunal, here about how we celebrate the new year. And I'm not against going to a hotel or a pub or a bar and dancing. I've done that myself, right? But the last 4 to 5 years, 6 years, I spent 31st December in the Gurdwara Sahib, and that works great for me, right? And it probably raises a few eyebrows elsewhere amongst my friend circle, but and this is how let's not judge each other for our choices. I think that's very important. I was in the gym yesterday, and I was listening to my evening prayers on the phone while doing my workout. The person sitting working out next to me was watching an animated thing. And we both were in our own world, and we both are okay in our own places.
That's so true. Well, the times around us are very uncertain right now. There is a lot of anxiety around automation. People are being laid off globally. Careers are becoming uncertain. I think careers are changing drastically. I was speaking to my daughter the other day, and I was telling her that when we were growing up, we had no notion of something like YouTube could ever exist.
Right.
But today it's a reality. It's a viable career. People are making money off YouTube, and
Right.
being a YouTuber is something that is relevant. So in these uncertain times where there's global conflict everywhere, and how does one stay focused, motivated, clear in the head, and what can we do to be better than what we are, so we are resilient enough to face the uncertainties ahead?
That's a great question, and I think clarity is one of the superpowers in this world of chaos. And clarity is built with old-fashioned ways. Clarity is not built with screens in front of you. Clarity is built with nothing in front of you. Clarity is built in nature. Clarity is built with that cup of coffee in silence. Clarity is built by reading something. Clarity is built through meditation. Clarity is built through journaling and gratitude. That look, how far have I already reached in my life? And that puts your anxiety at rest at times. This is applicable to all of us. Please understand, there are billions of dollars being poured into research and algorithms to grab your attention. Right? There's billions of dollars being poured into research and R&D. One of these, I think it was the chief of one of the OTT platforms who said our biggest competitor is sleep. They want to even take your sleep away so that you can spend maximum amount of time on devices and algorithms. And understand that, clarity is built through old-fashioned ways. They say when early humans, we're all ancestors of hunter-gatherers, early humans in the evening would sit around a fire. They build a campfire and they just sit and stare at the fire. And that this process of sitting and staring at the fire would sort of clear your head about all the worries of the day and what lies ahead. So go old-fashioned, switch on the airplane mode on the phone more often, be comfortable with solitude more, and having more conversations with yourself. Some rituals like journaling and meditation and gratitude will help you clear your head. If you are overwhelmed right now, it is my bet that your screen time, that your social media usage is probably something to do with it. This is what we've done. We're all capturing and feeding into the voyeuristic desires of each other. Let's rewind 30 years, right? 30 years ago, there was no social media. And probably we all had this desire deep down to peek into the homes of other people, see what's happening into the lives of other people, right? But we could not. Now, two things have happened. Many people have willingly drawn the curtains, parted the curtains so we can peek and see what's happening in their lives, right? They're making money out of it.
This whole vlogging culture.
Vlogging and the creator economy, they're making money out of it. They're getting fame and popularity out of it. And we are watching what other people are doing with their life. I mean, how sad could it be?
We're not concerned about what's happening in our own lives.
I don't mean to judge, but if your top priority is taking a peek into where did that person go to holiday for, or what's happening to the relationship or status of that celebrity, you probably don't have your own priorities figured out. I read the Optimist Creed every morning, Kunal. That's I urge all of you to do it. Read the Optimist Creed every morning. And one of the sentences goes, I want to be so busy with improving myself that I have no time left to criticize or judge others. And that's all, as simple as that. It's human tendency to judge and criticize others, but become so busy with creating a better life for yourself that you're not concerned with the trivial, and you're going to be bombarded with trivial. Algorithms and social medias and shorts and so much more, and typically negative. 90% of the stuff that really catches fire on social media is not positive stuff, very rarely.
I think because negativity attracts attention very quickly.
Absolutely.
So yes, certainly. I've tried to make it a point to switch off my phone, or at least put it away when I get home after work. That before going to bed a couple of hours, I'd rather spend time with my family. Rather than just going doom scrolling on a screen.
Yeah.
I think a very basic thing that we used to do was, when we were kids, the best ideas came when you were getting fresh in the morning, because you're not carrying a cell phone inside. And now, even those, 5, 8, 10 minutes of peace are have been hijacked
Yeah.
by the mobile phone.
True. A lot has changed.
A lot has changed. There's AQI on one side and there's AI on the other side. We are breathing difficult. We are not thinking thanks to AI.
Yeah.
I think when back in 2002, when ChatGPT came up on the scene, there was a lot of speculation as to how this whole AI thing is going to play out.
And if you remember, right from the beginning, I've always been saying this is going to change the world. Right in its infancy, we've always had this conversation. I've always had this position. It's going to change the world.
And it's changed the world, but has it changed it for better or has it changed it for worse? I think it's become an integral part of now everything that we do, from planning to maybe meal planning in the house. I looked up an AI assistant to plan the tiffin meals for my kids.
Can do.
So there's so much that it's become an integral part.
It still fully hasn't yet. But wait for a couple more years. It will penetrate every aspect of human life. AI is going to be on your wristwatches, on your wearable smart glasses. It's going to be everywhere. Let's take your first question. Well, let's take it piece by piece. You asked whether it has changed the world for better or not. We don't know yet. And with every disruption that comes in, if you look back into history, lighting, homes used to be lighted using whale oil. There was a whole industry around it before electricity came in and the light bulb came in, right?
Absolutely.
And that changed the world. That changed the world in more ways than one. Not only could people sit down and read and write in after dark, but then factories could run 24/7. Earlier, factories could only run during daylight, and now factories started running 24/7. That changed the whole scenario in terms of output and everything.
Very true.
With AI, I think it's still in its infancy. It's still, the mass adoption is yet to happen. The costs have yet to come down. There's billions of dollars being poured into more chips and more compute power, and the results will start showing in the next few years. So I think this space, we'll need to watch this for the next few years in terms of what sort of applications will emerge. How is it going to impact? And here's the very interesting part. 5 years ago or 10 years ago, we published a video called The Top Skills of 2020. And back then, I was saying, and I'm sure many other future of work experts were also saying, the creative jobs are safe. AI will first take the 3Ds, the dull, dirty, dangerous jobs. The reverse happened. The creative jobs were attacked first. Copywriters, content writers, music production, a lot of the stuff that you do, you probably witnessed AI coming into that, image generation, so much more, social media. And so it's the creative jobs it went after first. So that whole narrative was flipped. So even now, if we make some prediction, and I think 1 year from now, I could be completely wrong about that, but all I'll say is we don't know yet. It's still in its infancy, but I am a firm believer after the steam engine and the electricity and the internet, AI is the next big thing. And it could be your best friend or be your worst enemy in terms of your career growth. It all depends upon the choices you make and how you learn to play with it.
This brings me to something that I heard you say some time back about, you often talk about what is your professional DNA. And why I'm bringing this up is because, like we say, that there is a lot of uncertainty around AI
right
now. Is it going to be the better thing for us, or is it going to be detrimental? But I feel that there should be some basic human criteria or something that we personally need to work upon in ourselves, so that even with this disruption, we are able to sustain ourselves.
True.
So what do you think that should be?
Couple of things. When the first microwave came out, they said, this is some piece I read, that the American housewife will now have so much time that she will not know what to do with it. When the first washing machine on the microwave came out. And we know what happened. The more gadgets come in, we still don't have enough time. Now, here's what, when you first saw AI, many entrepreneurs or many small and medium enterprises, freelancers, you thought, all of my work will now be done by AI. So I'll have a lot more free time, right? That was 6 months ago. Fast forward 6 months, you have all that tech, and it's amazing tech, but your time management is still a mess, right? Right? So think about that. So with all the tools coming in, I think they're tools, right? You are the creator, you are the sculptor, those are the tools. You need to manage your time better. You need to manage your energy better. You need to be a better editor in terms of seeing, what is right, what is wrong.
Yes.
You need to get more sharper with your communication skills, with your clarity in speech, because you're prompting that machine. The machine can only create what you prompt it to do. And we've seen in the same building, in our office, three people prompting differently, getting vastly different outputs, depending upon the context, the clarity. So your vocal ability to tell the machine what you want will vastly impact. So all of those skills, your creativity, originality, original thinking, your communication skills, your imagination skills, right? Things that every child should get the opportunity to experience, have a cardboard box and make something out of it. Those are the skills we need once again. Because see, this is what I believe is the era of execution. My friends, all of you, if in this day and age you cannot execute in your ideas, I don't know when in human history will be a better time. This is the best time to write that book you've been thinking about, to publish that video, to start that business, to launch that website, to start that podcast. It is so easy now with all of these tools available. I think Sam Altman made a prediction that the billion-dollar companies run by one person,
Billion-dollar unicorn. Yeah.
unicorns,
One person unicorn. Yeah.
we are very close to those things happening.
Yes.
With all sort of automations coming in. So I think it's a very exciting time in human history, but it'll come down to dreaming, imagination. Execution is becoming easier, but the human skills, creativity, and we need to get better with communication and emotional intelligence, networking skills, those sort of things. I think will have a premium.
Like you said about the creative jobs and the creative processes, I think that is one thing that I've noticed, that again, yes, it is the dull, boring part of the everyday thing that the creative was doing that has been taken over. But like you said, I think people need to work on being better intellectually. You have to be better cultured, and still, like, the brain is a muscle that you need to exercise.
True.
So these are tools, like you said, they will ultimately help you in executing, but the idea, the seed of that idea, that creativity has to come from within yourself.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to talk momentarily about the country that we're living in. India, it's growing by leaps and bounds. We are seeing a resurgence of fresh ideas, startups, intellectuals. There is a whole growth story that India has to tell.
Yep.
And well, the experts say there's a lot of potential still. So what are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I believe the growth story is very much intact. I step into 2026 with a lot of optimism. Not just the economic growth story, the demographic growth story, the optimism and the ideas of our youth, their desire, their ability to make a mark in the world. And look at the list of the top CEOs across the world, and count how many CEOs of Indian origin you can count. And that's not a measure, while I'm proud of it, that's not the true measure of our success. We've done a lot more than that. I see a fire in the belly of Indian youth to prove themselves. Yes, there are times and situations and circumstances and pieces of news that create some sort of pessimism, but overall I see this is a very resilient nation. It has bounced back every single time. The India growth story is very much intact. We have the demographic dividend, we have the ideas, we have the entrepreneurial culture, we have the entrepreneurial muscle. We are resourceful people. We know how to get the best out of something, even if the resources are limited. I was studying an article recently about how kids who have grown in circumstances where there was not a whole lot of money to go around, what skills they develop. And there are 2 or 3 things that they develop. Number one is delayed gratification. They're able to delay gratification. We are able to do that because we've come from backgrounds where not everything we asked for was handed down to us. We're able to do that. Number 2 was resourcefulness. We are very creative in terms of, I've seen podcasts running in a room that is maybe half this size and with a green screen at the back and kids doing magic with that. And there are creators who are running channels and Instagram channels and YouTube channels on a single mobile phone costing 6, 7, 8,000 rupees. That's the sort of creativity we have. I'm very much a huge believer in the Make in India, the whole thing that's happening with data centers now coming up. The whole world is looking towards India, towards, whether as a center of AI growth also. A number of GCCs, look at the global capability centers. Every large multinational has a global capability center right here in India who are going to employ our youth. I think there's no shortage of opportunities. There is only a shortage of the right mindset and the skill set that we should all focus on developing.
That's wonderful. I think I'm a firm believer that limitations foster creativity.
Indeed.
And I think this limitation and the demographic and just this basic sense that we have is going to be our strength in the coming future as well.
Sure.
Well, I want to turn this conversation slightly to a different thing. We've talked about India, we've talked about the world, we've talked about AI. I want to go back within. You mentioned gratitude earlier, and so I want to talk about gratitude and humility as these virtues that we have, and how can we develop them further? Because I feel these are the things that really make you have inner peace. I think somebody said that happiness is an emotion which is going to last a few minutes, but it's contentment that you're really after.
True. True.
So
I think one of the biggest misconceptions out there is that if I'm happy and content, that means I'm not ambitious. And that is wrong. You can be ambitious as anything and still be balanced in your day-to-day approach. And that's what we need. We need that balance because otherwise, if it's out of balance, it's a fire that'll consume you too. So all of the things that you mentioned, I think they come under the umbrella of mindfulness. If there is one message that I would like to give you in order to improve your mental, emotional health on a day-to-day basis, is be more mindful. Be more mindful. When you're more mindful while you're driving, you're generally more careful about, a pedestrian is waiting to cross the road and you'll slow down a little. You will honk a little less. You'll be a little less aggressive. Be more mindful in your planning, in your desires, in your eating habits. Sometimes we eat mindlessly. Mind is elsewhere, occupied by some anxiety, and the hand is moving.
Yes.
And then the tummy is growing. And then we are blaming the world, right? So stop the hand and ask, am I truly hungry? Did I chew my food properly? And of course, we all, when we are in a rush, we're excited about things. We tend to do things like that. But be more mindful in your conversations, in your day-to-day conversations. Be more mindful about what you consume on social media, on the phone, what you read in the paper. Be more mindful of the people that you spend time with. Be your own friend. You don't have to have a lot of company around you all the time, right? If you have people around who lift you up, by all means do that. But if not, learn to enjoy your own company too. So gratitude brings mindfulness, because gratitude tells you, hey, do this exercise, all of you. Close your eyes for a second and think of the little you when you were in school. Yeah, that's right. Get the image of yourself when you were in school, that little child, 5th or 6th grade, uncertain, anxious, maybe, and go tell that little child, everything worked out. Everything worked out. Everything works out in the long run. Go tell that little child. Yeah, tell that little child every day that things are working out just fine. Would you have imagined where you are today 20 years ago? Absolutely not. The life you're living today, it's your dream come true. And your dream come true is still a dream for many other people. And I know there's a lot more. There's miles to go before we sleep. And by all means, go there. But live with the faith that I will enjoy the journey. The flowers growing outside, they're not anxious. But they know it's programmed in them that it'll take time to bloom. But don't be anxious. Enjoy the journey. And things will happen when they'll happen. They'll bring you more peace.
Well said. So if you're feeling anxious about redundancy, about career uncertainty, don't be anxious. Give it time. Believe in yourself. I think that's one of the key takeaways here. So closing this conversation, if there is one last thing, one habit, one message that you would like to give to people. I mean, this whole conversation has been full of wonderful messages, but how would you like to sum up this whole thing and leave us with a nugget?
Messages are what I make a living out of, isn't it? I'd like to say this. I would say work on having the body of an athlete, the mind of an entrepreneur, and the soul of an artist. And I repeat, work on developing the body of an athlete, as close as you can get to an athlete. What I mean is a fit body, a body fit enough to carry all your ideas and your visions and your dreams and all the money you make. No point making all the money if you're not fit enough to spend it or enjoy that later on. The mind of an entrepreneur. Many of you will say, oh, I am employed, I work for somebody else. How can I have a mind of an entrepreneur? No, you're free to develop the mind of an entrepreneur. And the mind of an entrepreneur is resourcefulness, creativity, branding, excellence, all those good things, right? That's how an entrepreneur thinks. We don't run away from risks. We embrace risks. We go out and seek risks. So the body of an athlete, the mind of an entrepreneur, and the soul of an artist. And I say the soul of an artist because we need art now more than ever before. We need our originality. And art doesn't mean paintings or sculptures and things like that. Art means new ideas. The new idea to run that restaurant or a cafe, that's art. The new idea to create music using AI and creating a new song and you want to sing, to record it and sell it, that's art. If it's still in your head, it's not art. It's just a tune in your head. When you ship it, when you release it, it's art. The new idea for making the world a better place, for helping underprivileged children who live under the underpass of the metro that you cross every day. You go 30 minutes and you teach them or you create a video to help them. That's art. So let me define art here. Art is new ideas that impact, ideas which other people might laugh at. And that's what we need to pursue. The body of an athlete, look after your fitness, please. The mind of an entrepreneur, full of creative ideas, and the soul of an artist. And all of you have a great new year ahead.
That is wonderful, Simerjeet. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us. Courage, clarity, mindfulness, just being confident about yourself. Unleash your inner self. Don't worry about everything that is happening around you. Believe in yourself and do that little bit that you can consistently so that you can be a better version of yourself by the time this year ends. And I'm sure then you will be able to maintain your resolutions for the years to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kunal.